to show you a tutorial on Unreal Engine, from downloading to launching and some of the basics. So first of all, what you need to do is make sure Epic Games Launcher is downloaded and you have to launch it. Go to the Unreal tab and go to Library. Here you will find different engine versions. Install the latest one, and from here you can launch the engine. You can click on the plus button to make the older versions appear, and there are different things that you can do here, such as check the installed plugins, and you can look at all the projects that you have created as well as search for them. Like if I want to search for this project, Corridor, and it will appear here. This little thing here tells us about the engine version that this project was created with. You can migrate older project versions to newer project versions just by opening it with the new version of the Unreal Engine 4. You can launch the project directly from here, or you can create a shortcut of Unreal Engine at the desktop and launch Unreal Engine from, and then choose your project from the own project launcher. Let it open. And now this wall tells you about all the assets that you own. These are assets that you can get from the marketplace. Like for example, all of these I got from the marketplace. When I visit the marketplace tab, I can see all the assets that I can buy or get for free. And you will get some free assets every month. This month we get these assets. If you just add them to your cart and checkout, you will get them for free, and you can use them for commercial use as well as personal use. This is the case for any asset on the marketplace. If you buy any asset on the marketplace, usually you can use it for commercial purposes. There are some assets though which you cannot use outside of the engine. These are mainly the assets released by Epic Games itself. Now in the Learn tab, you will get completed projects that showcase how to do something inside the engine. For example, the content example consists of every basic thing that the engine can do. And there are a multitude of other projects as well, and you can download these projects to get a basic understanding of how things work in Unreal Engine 4. And you can also use these assets inside your project free of cost and release the game commercially. It also consists of multiple assets that are actually very useful. The Unreal tab is the default tab that opens up when you click on the Unreal Engine, and it consists of news of the latest updates. It's useful. You can check it out later on. Now let's move on to launching the game. So once the first time you launch Unreal Engine 4, this tab is going to open up the Unreal project browser. It's going to show you all the projects that it has detected. Now you can either create a new project, or if you have a previous project, which I'm assuming you don't, you can open that. Always load last project on startup. Make sure that we skip launching Unreal project browser and goes straight to the last map that we were working on. I always take this, and then if I want to change the map, I launch from this place directly. Now let's create a new project and a third-person project, YouTube, and create project. One thing that you can do is change the local derived data cache directory. Basically what it does is stores the shader information as well as material information inside your hard drive to make loading up faster. Although it takes up a lot of space. My current project data cache uses up to 50 gigabytes of hard drive storage. So I recommend you change your shader storage location to someplace else. The default directory is in your C drive at app data. You can change it by browsing towards your Unreal Engine directory, properties, open file location, and go to engine. Basically Unreal Engine, the engine version, engine, and in config, go to base engine and just search for derived data cache. Find next and change all of the instances to your desired location. So I just replaced it with this location. If there is a space in the directory, then add inverted commas between the directory like this. Just find next and replace all of the instances except for this one, editor override setting equal. The reason I'm doing it from here is because so I do not have to change it every time I create a new project. Now this is the UI for Unreal Engine. This tab tells us the recently placed actors. This is the basic tab. This is the light where you can put all the different lights. There are different types of light. Directional light for the sunlight, spotlight for like spot of light, point light for the traditional light effect, rect light for something like high beams in a car, and skylight to make the general scene a bit brighter, and cinematic. This is something you do not have to worry for now, because this is more advanced. Atmospheric fog, it's used to basically add fog to the environment. Exponential height fog, again this is fog. Post-process volume, what this does is helps you make the scene look much better. Like if I add bloom, method standard intensity 8, now the sun will look really bright here. This is what you can add post-processing effect, that's it. And these are the boxes that you can use to create rooms just by checking this box, and now it will be hollow, meaning the interior will be carved out. If you uncheck hollow, it will no longer be hollow. You cannot go inside the box. This is something that I use to create rooms. However, it's not really recommended because BSPs are bad for performance, but you can always convert them to static mesh. So it depends on your choice. You can either model them yourself, or you can just convert the BSP brushes to static meshes. And these are some things that you will be using later on, but nothing that I want to go over in this tutorial at this point. Now this is the content browser. Just press this show or hide sources panel to make navigation so much more easier. These are the different folders which you can do visit, and this architecture is included. So like if you wanted a rounded platform, it's included. This wall is also included. Different things are included in the started content. Materials, like if you want to paint this wall, just do this. You can, if you, since this is I guess a static mesh, you cannot change the size. The benefit of using BSP is exactly this. Let me just show you. Look, it automatically gets scaled according to its size. Wait. And let's make it bigger. It's getting scaled according to its size. Now if I wanted to change how big it appears, I could always align surface planner, and look at this, it's beautifully placed. It automatically detects the resolution and aligns or tiles the material in accordance with how big or small the object is. So this is why I use BSP and then convert them to static mesh most of the time. Again, this is how it would appear if you were using a normal static mesh that you created yourself, or you could just do this and have a beautifully tiled floor. Now, something that I got confused between in the starting was what's the difference between textures and materials. The main difference between textures and materials are textures are just images, and materials are a set of images that make up the overall look of how the texture is going to look like in the real world. So, for example, let's open this cobblestone up. Now, as you can see, this is all a collection of different textures, and it makes up the whole material. This is basically used to add variation to the texture. If I wanted to add even more variation, I would just increase this size to 1, and now hit apply, because it takes a while for these things to get applied. And now, as you can see, there's more dirt, such as here, more dirt here. So it controls the overall look of the texture, and material instances make everything so much better. Now let's move on to blueprints. What blueprints do is basically you have to place one, and if you change the parent blueprint, the change gets applied everywhere. So that's the biggest benefit of blueprint. So for example, if I manually place 10 lights, like 10 of these, okay, 10 is a bit excess, I'm just going to place 3. If I wanted to say change the color of light from white to red, all I would have to do is check this and change it to red. Okay, so the reason why it's not changing is because we have a variable which lets us define the color of the light. However, if we go to construction script and just set intensity disable and hit save, and now as you can see, it just got applied in each and every one of these blueprint. If I wanted to say lower the intensity of this light, all I would have to do is change it from here, and that's it. It got changed in 3 different places. I didn't have to do anything. So this is why blueprints are very useful, and it's something that you're gonna want to use for practically everything that you can. Well, this is the basics. There are other things as well, such as vertex painting, which allows you to paint different different textures on top of another texture. Say if I was to make this older, if I wanted to make it older, all I had to do was paint another texture on top of it, and that's it. It would apply a different overlay as such. It's not something I'm going to cover here because it's advanced. Again, you can create a landscape here. This is for placing foliage such as trees and grass. And geometry editing is used to edit geometry that you can place this geometry, place this, and now you can edit the geometry to look however you want. Like select this point, make it go like this. Select this point, make it lower, like this. So you can edit the geometry however you want. You can also delete the faces, specific faces, in case it's not going to be visible to the player. This is Steam FX. This is again done via Blueprint technology. So Blueprint is something that you're going to use a lot, and you should get used to it. It's a lot easier than coding, and this is why Unreal Engine is so popular. So I guess that's it for today. I will create another video about how to create a basic room with walls and lighting and place some static meshes. Importing everything else will be done later on. I hope you guys enjoyed this. See you later. Bye.